my heart and my thoughts is, of course, with Cassie, all of the survivors that's affiliated with this situation, and just in general around the world. If you or somebody has been through this, something like this, just know that y'all are not alone. Please go out to get help. There is somebody who cares about you. There is somebody who will listen. There is somebody waiting for you at the end of the tunnel. Like, I promise you, do not go through this. As I keep saying, like, it would be impossible for me to be unbiased, in reporting, because yeah, like, I just can't, like, I can't hide it. Like, did he gotta go to jail? So it's like, okay, I would give the information as Armand is doing it, but like, I would have to put it into context, which probably wouldn't be the best thing, because your job as a reporter is just to report what was said. And so, that's kind of what he does. But I don't really agree with him much when he says that today was a win for the prosecution. Of course, both sides will have good days and bad days and stuff, but um if and I'm after this, I'm probably going to go and watch. I want to watch what Lauren LaRosa has to say. I'm sure she'll upload something to Twitter or something. I don't even know, where she puts her content. I don't even watch her like on YouTube or anything. But I kind of want to see what other people have to say about today. So and we kind of knew that this was gonna happen. However, it wasn't as super hardcore as I kind of thought it would be. And in this case, I compare a lot of stuff to what it reminds me of is like going back to 2021, 2022, when Johnny Depp and Amber Heard was going through their case. So as I said in the beginning, like, Tisa Tells was reporting it as like the defense, their questions were weak, which I felt like they were as well. And Armand said that as well. Like, it started off shaky. The day started off shaky, and then they painted the picture that they painted and the narratives that they wanted to get off, which was that both of them were addicted, and that especially when they asked Cassie, how would you feel when you weren't on the drugs? And she would say irritated and whatever. And they drew a parallel to how Diddy would feel, because they wanted to paint it as he would get violent when he was withdrawing. But my issue, and I don't know if it's the way that Armand reported it, or how if the defense addressed this during their questioning of Cassie today, which is Armand just told us this whole story about what happened in the courtroom today, but he seldom mentioned their fights and the violence, right? When Cassie testified, we heard an overwhelming amount of violence, which makes sense. But and of course, like, the defense is copping to, well, the addiction, right? So they're copying to the addiction and saying like, oh, like Diddy was this addicted guy and stuff like that. Makes sense or whatever. So that's something, because you can't go in there and make it seem like you're all perfect or my side is all perfect. And that's kind of what today was for Cassie, because even for us, the public and the people who are on Cassie's side, we don't know that much about Cassie other than what's coming out right now. So up until today, most people, I would say, would have the image in our head that Cassie is kind of this innocent girl that was taken advantage of. And to a certain extent, I still believe that that is true. However, when we talk about relationships, any relationship, and any relationship, it has its up and its downs, no matter how good or how bad it is. So even if you are in an abusive relationship, not every day is abusive. Of course, you're going to have good days. So it's not really the biggest gag when we see in the text messages Cassie is initiating the FOs, because at some point, like, it's like your spirit leaves your body. And even though this is not what she saw for her life, she was now here. And this is how she had to survive. So for them to make it seem like, she was really with it and she was down and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure she was down. And even we only heard that they hired male escorts to be with them. But today we heard at least two instances where Cassie initiated in hiring women to be with them to watch Diddy with. Okay, so that is a new revelation. But and let's be honest, what especially, she's young, right? She's under 25 at this time. At some point, we're all experimental, right? So at some point, we could be down with having a threesome here or there, especially, like, doing it with a partner that we trust and X, Y, and Z or whatever the fuck. So even like, I can't expect Cassie to always be perfect. And but what's crazy about Diddy is like, he never wanted. It seemed like he was never really into just vanilla sex, like just her and him. That was seldom, obviously. Like, and even in the text messages when she would initiate it, she said, um, And when he wasn't responding, she said, "Should I go to Pleasure Chest? Like, should I go to the sex store and pick up a couple of things in order to entice him?" Like, he never wanted to just like, like just get it on between them and each other. It always had to be something involved, another person involved, or another toy involved, or something. Very interesting, Diddy. But that's besides the point. I think it's important to put it into context. And once again, I don't know if like, I do like put respect on Armand for remaining unbiased and stuff like that. But I'm telling you right now that I couldn't go and report this and not put it into context as I was going. Like, I would kind of be like Millie when she was reporting on Megan versus Tory or whatever. Because it's like I would be saying everything that I'm saying like right now while I'm doing it, because while I'm giving the facts of what was said, because like I'm saying, like every day is not a bad day in a relationship. Like, it wasn't all bad, of course. And right now she's laying out the case for the prosecution. So where it seems all bad, and of course that is her experience, but of course there were days when like the sun did shine and she did write those long text messages to him, because I'm sure that she was grateful for the things that he did and how he changed her life and or promised to change her life. Now Armand, once again, he's reporting it how he's reporting it. When I hear Tisa tell, she has a whole different energy to it, because she's kind of like us, where she's like on the prosecution side, which is Diddy needs to be locked up. So in everything she says, that is her undertone. Whereas Armand is being a little bit more, here's what was said. He's giving a little bit grace to the defense and trying to be unbiased or whatever, and saying, oh, they had a good day in court today. But Armand didn't say nothing that Tisa said. Tisa said a whole bunch of stuff. Like, hold on, let me show y'all my notes. I'm talking about, I didn't even get like so much of the explicit stuff. Look at my notes. Enraged in anger. According to Tisa, Diddy was angry in court. Now, they were both accurate in saying that they playing with the clock, they're trying to stall time, trying to have Cassie on the stand as much as possible when she's really supposed to leave by tomorrow. Tisa said Diddy leans into the lawyers like he's running stuff. Mark Agnifilio is always defying the judge, always trying to like do some slick shit. The judge wasn't having it. She said, all lawyers, they're usually keying with Diddy, happy and jolly and lighthearted and stuff. But today, no. Today, Diddy was giving them looks. He was mad. You could tell. To the point where she said all of his attorneys, they stood 5 feet away from him. That's what she said. And she was saying, Diddy, how are you acting like this? Because everyone is watching and you don't care. She said he was 2 seconds away from losing it. When they were having a break, Diddy was calling his attorneys one by one and telling them what to do. Diddy took complete control of the defense. That was her words, because he's not happy. He's pissed at this line of questioning, because this is what she was saying. When Armand says like today started off slow, at that point in the morning, like I told you guys, I was following the tweets, I was following the questions, because I was listening to a lawyer do it. And when she was reading out the questions, I'm like, what the fuck is they asking this shit for? Like, this is stupid. So it would make sense as to why Diddy was feeling the way Tisa said she was feeling. She said that Diddy was writing notes and handing slips of paper to all his attorneys. She said they were acting like robots. To the point where Diddy took complete control. He was telling them, that's why the questions were stupid, because Diddy was telling the lawyers what to ask Cassie, because he's trying to get under Cassie's skin and, like make her like break down and go off, because he feel like they're not sticking it to her enough. They're not getting her enough. They're not dragging her enough. That's why he's mad, because today is supposed to be their shining day to break Cassie down. But to Diddy, they wasn't doing enough. So she said, everything they were doing or like they were asking, it's like he was doing it for the headlines. So he trying to get under her skin. So that's why, I don't know, I can't remember an example of the question, but he asking her questions like, trying to make her look like a hoe or whatever you want to call it. And he's trying to get headlines. So for all of the journalists and the reporters in the room to be like, oh, like, let me write this down so that they can do their videos and write articles about this. So basically, when she said that, trying to make her look bad, right? So this is my note that I wrote in while I was listening to her, and you guys can go and listen back to this on YouTube. I said, if he's doing all this at this point, Diddy not playing a defense. He's playing a media game. And you got to be desperate. If you're like, fuck it, my lawyers is not strong enough, my case is not strong enough, they not doing it strong enough. At this point, the most that I could get out of this is some headlines making her look bad. That's essentially what Tisa was saying. She said they had freakouts while broken up. She had a burner phone to communicate with Kid Cudi, I guess, before, so he wouldn't find out. Okay, so this is my question. I said, what is cheating in this type of open relationship? Obviously, that will never be answered. But the last thing that I wrote before Armand went live was basically what I said earlier, which is like Diddy thinks that defying him, going against him, cheating on him means that he has free reign to treat her however and do whatever to her, which is what he did. And so this is what Tisa said. Tisa said his evil was showing through his attorneys. Those were her words. He's slipping them pieces of paper, telling them what to say, going off of their plan. But that was completely different. Armand didn't say nothing like this. So, bitch, I'm a little confused. So now I'm gonna have to go and listen to somebody else, on my own free time or whatever. This is a little bit in line of how I would kind of report it because of course I would be looking at everybody in the courtroom, and Armand, he did give some he did give some, what's it called, like a background as to how the kids were acting. He talked about the sons today and that the sons were actually happy. They was giddy, and they was taking notes. He said, what are they taking notes for? Because they felt like Diddy was winning. So I don't know. I don't know what to. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I do know. I gave y'all my take or whatever. But I'm just going to show you that people are reporting very very differently. Armand saying he's unbiased. He's she's not saying I'm unbiased, but clearly like she definitely is feeling how the majority of the public is feeling, like they want Diddy to go away. And I don't know. I can't really fault her for like doing that or whatever. Can't really fault Armand either. I do appreciate that he can remain unbiased, but child, it's giving a little bit delusional. Because I do think that Tisa's breakdown, she talk a lot or whatever, she could be all over the place, but in terms of the way that Diddy was acting in the courtroom, that is more in line with, I think, what's really happening, because Diddy is losing control every day. He's no longer the boss. He needs to trust his attorneys, but it seems like he was just really frustrated today to where he's literally, while they are asking Cassie questions, he is slipping them notes on what to ask, and he's mad. She said he was 2 seconds from going off. I almost want Diddy to go off in the courtroom. I really do. Because that would show them everything. And I really hope that the jury is paying attention to the way that to the way that everybody's acting. But anyway, that's all I have to say right now on this for now. So I'm kind of interested in what Lauren LaRosa has to say. So I'm gonna look up her page and go on it later and see like what she's saying or whatever. I found a couple of other reporters yesterday that are also in the courtroom. So I definitely encourage you guys to also do the same. Oh, here's another reporter 3 hours ago to do the same, to really come up with your own conclusions. Oh, look. She said, I cannot believe how well Cassie is handling all of this. So pregnant and so poised while disclosing her darkest times that she is not proud of. I think we will see more evidence of alleged federal crimes. When his former employees take the stand, it's going to be a long trial. Woo! When I tell y'all I am locked in. Ooh, Lauren LaRosa. Oh, okay. So here is once again questioning her attorney. I definitely want to hear the reading of the transcripts because like I'm saying, like what you guys are seeing being tweeted out is really just kind of like the important stuff. But we're and that's why like I'm really interested in what everyone else in the courtroom has to say, whether it's Armand or Tisa or whatever, because they're giving us way more than the tweets are. But if you start listening to the transcripts, that is word for word what they're saying in that courtroom, and I kind of want to hear it. I want to hear it. At least a little bit. People saying a lot of news coming out today about Justin Bieber. His people are saying that he wasn't a victim of Diddy. Oh, one thing I wanna say on this note. So, and then I promise I'm gonna get off.